Stand by.
Okay. Good evening. The August 22nd, 2017 meeting of the Marion County School Board is called to order. For the courtesy of those listening to the meeting, I am requesting everyone in the audience, please turn off your electronic devices or put them on vibrate. Later in the meeting, up to 30 minutes will be provided for individuals to address the board on matters concerning the operation of the Marion County school system or the school board only. Presentations to the board are limited to 5 minutes and are televised. If you wish to address the board regarding a regular agenda item or matters on which the board customarily takes action, you must first complete a peach form located on the table in the hallway. If you wish to address the board regarding a public hearing or a student discipline matter, please complete a lime green form. These forms must be fully completed and received by the board secretary no later than 5:40 p.m. The procedures applicable for each are on a separate sheet. Madam Secretary, please call roll.
Mrs. Nancy Stacy, District 1. Mr. Bobby James, District 3.
Here.
Ms. Angie Boynton, District 4. Here. Ms. Beth McCall, District 2. Here. Mrs. Kelly King, District 5.
Here.
Dr. Heidi Mayer, Superintendent. Here. Mr. Paul Gibbs, School Board Attorney.
Here.
Thank you. Dr. Ham, Deputy Superintendent of Operations.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Craig Ham. I am the Deputy Superintendent of Operations. And Madam Chair, board members, Superintendent Mayer, Mr. Gibbs, Mrs. Flatcutter. It's my distinct pleasure this evening to bring forward the members of, some of the members of Boy Scout Troop 692 at St. Paul's United Methodist Church under the leadership of Jackson Kuntz, the Scoutmaster. So if I could ask them to join me up here, please. As you know, Boy Scouts have a long and distinguished history of training young men to become responsible citizens and leaders in the community. It was my personal pleasure to be a Boy Scout for many years. I am an Eagle Scout, and I am familiar with what these young men are going through. Right now, they're participating in activities that will lead to a merit badge in citizenship in the community. And they are, for us, an inspiration at a young age to become involved in what's going on in their community. And we are delighted to have them here with us this evening. As I introduce them, if they'll identify themselves to the crowd, we have the Senior Patrol Leader, John Lanning. Patrol leaders are Ashton Kuntz and Nathan Wood. Assistant Patrol Leader David Hall. And already they're learning about leadership positions within a hierarchical organization, and that's always a good thing because they'll find as they move up that there are greater opportunities for leadership. And again, to the Scoutmaster, Jackson Kuntz, congratulations. I know it's a significant investment of your time in the lives of young men. And if you would turn around and face the board so that they can say hello to you, and we will together give the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you would please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. We're glad to have you here this evening.
It's always amazing.
Are we doing tea or no?
Are you doing tea or no?
No.
Okay.
Dr. Mayer?
Okay. I recommend approval of the agenda for the August 22nd, 2017 school board meeting with the materials in the board packet. Those materials distributed to board members at the meeting and the audio recording included as part of the official record of the meeting.
Okay, may I have a motion on the superintendent's recommendation?
Second.
Moved by Ms. McCall, seconded by Ms. Boynton. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Is it coming up? Oh, now it just did. And the motion passed 5-0. May I have a motion to approve the minutes for the July 24th, 2017 special school board meeting?
Second.
Moved by Ms. Boynton, seconded by Mr. James. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. And the motion passed 5-0. May I have a motion to approve the minutes for the July 25th, 2017 school board meeting?
Second.
Moved by Ms. McCall, seconded by Ms. Boynton. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, and those that oppose, like sign. And the motion passed 5-0. May I have a motion to approve the minutes for the August 1st, 2017 special school board meeting?
Second.
Moved by Ms. McCall, second by Ms. Boynton. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And the motion passed 5-0. Okay, I would like to recognize, or have Ms. Tia Brown, our program specialist, come up and please introduce our STEM students.
Thank you so much. I'm very excited to be here to be able to recognize these teachers and students that have won these STEM awards. Now, please know that Mr. Rafael Pero was not able to be here. He is stuck in traffic. But we are going to have Michael Cullen, our elementary science program specialist, come in and shake the hands as they come in. And then Ms. Christine Strickler is going to introduce or recognize the students. I'm going to recognize the teachers. So just a little bit of background. STEM Alliance is a nonprofit partnership of educational institutions that recognizes, supports, and fosters outstanding teaching and learning in science and math. Schools nominate an outstanding math and an outstanding science teacher. 7th grade students are nominated by schools, and the students submit a STEM-related essay to be evaluated by a district committee. The scholars that maintain certain academic criteria become sustaining scholars until they graduate. Tonight, we are going to recognize their accomplishments. So first, I'm going to introduce our teachers. I have Dr. William Lockley from North Marion Middle School. He's outstanding in mathematics. You just go right up there and stand, please. Next, I have Melissa Hitchcock, from Dr. N.H. Jones, outstanding in science. And also outstanding in science is Carla Reedy from North Marion High School.
Make your way through the crowd.
She's coming.
She's coming. And at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Christine Strickler, our secondary math program specialist, who's going to recognize our students.
Good evening. Most outstanding in science, we have Hunter Hutchinson from Vanguard High School. We have Sarah McGinley from Osceola Middle for most outstanding in mathematics. Rushi Patel for most outstanding in mathematics from Howard Middle School. Karen Ball for most outstanding in science from Liberty Middle School. Tristan Pink for most outstanding in science for Osceola Middle School. For most outstanding in science from Vanguard High School, we have Anna Mitchell. Most outstanding in science for Bellevue High School, we have Yasmin Bacchus. Most outstanding in science from Forest High School is Margaret Waddell. Most outstanding in science from Forest High School is Skylar Pittman. Most outstanding in mathematics from Forest High School is Logan Potter. Most outstanding in mathematics from Forest High School is also Alex Boschma. Most outstanding in mathematics from Vanguard High School is Graham Cope. Most outstanding in mathematics from North Marion High School is Cameron Martinez. Most outstanding in mathematics from Westport High School is Sophia Lopez. We also had a few that couldn't join us tonight, but we'd still like to recognize them. For most outstanding in mathematics, we have Danielle Moore, from Forest High School, Madison Hanley from North Marion High School, and Yasaria Aguirre from Westport High School. Oh, she's here. Yay, she was able to join us.
I'm going to rearrange.
Fabulous.
We also have one more teacher that is here. So most outstanding in mathematics, we have Lori McConnell from Legacy Elementary School. We're so proud of them and their accomplishments and look forward to watching them continue to grow and progress and make us proud.
Just smile and stay there. Okay, my turn now. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, couple more. Now, if you guys will just turn and face that way.
Stacy?
This is why we come to work here. This is why we were elected. To try to bring as many opportunities and have the superintendent bring us lots of programs for us to approve and policies that we can make to support you guys. This is why I'm here. And thank you for proving me that my time is worth it. Thank you.
Congratulations, guys. Job well done. And I want to say special thanks to the teachers that have worked with you so diligently, and especially the parents out there that really go the extra yard in making this possible. So I want to congratulate you on being here today, and I want to challenge you to continue to pursue your endeavors. Because when we talk in terms of science and math, that's the future for us. Thank you. Good job.
Just so, thank y'all for what y'all did, okay, for us. Thank you. Good to see y'all too.
Thank you. I look forward to following your journeys. I am sure this is not the first time that we will hear your name. To all the outstanding teachers, thank you for your dedication and for working so diligently with our students. To our parents that are out there, I echo Mr. James. This does not happen without tremendous parental support. So thank you to all and good luck. I'm so excited for you all.
Yeah, congratulations. When you guys were coming up, you guys wouldn't all fit, and Dr. Mayer said, what a great problem to have, that there were so many of you guys, and you guys are just wonderful. And the teachers in the back, I thank you because you guys are dedicated and put in your heart and hard work. And when you guys leave, tell your parents or whoever is helping you become the awesome people that you are. Tell them thank you and keep up the great work. Thank you. Oh, Dr. Mayer, something to say.
I was just thinking as you were walking up, with all the craziness going on in our world, right here's the answer. You guys are what's going to solve the problems that we have. So just continue with what you're doing and remember that you are implied leaders now. You are the leaders. And so thank you and keep it up. And like Ms. McCall said, we're going to keep track of y'all. And like Ms. Stacy said, you're the reason we do what we do. So thank you. We're behind you all the way.
Okay, before they get away, we would like for the parents to stand up. All the parents stand up, and we're going to try and get a shot of all of them. Kevin, can you get him, Kevin? Can you get?
I got as good as I can.
All right, thank you, Kevin.
Thank you. You're free to go.
Make a,
You can go. We won't hold you anymore.
That's a happy one.
That is awesome.
That's a nice way to start a meeting.
Or you don't just get a handshake from me. You get something else.
neither did I, or Matt.
Should let Michael take the picture.
I got a baton award.
Got a lot of English, but no science and math. English and music. Yeah, I'm gonna take my grandkids.
Oh, it's a must.
That's where the seminar was. And they gave us in between, lunch was like 2 hours.
I think that's the traffic jam, is she's out in the lobby, in the hallway.
No, it's here.
My mom found my clarinet about 5 years ago.
I still have my flute. I still play a lot in the church.
They moved houses, changed houses, and it was up in the attic. She goes, "Oh my goodness," because she said if she'd have known it was there, she'd have given it to somebody. You know,
You'll be up here soon.
it was fine. She ended up giving it.
Scope the spot you want. You'll be here soon.
Yeah, and it was like 40 years old. Still in great shape.
Guy's got a necklace.
Almost there.
Pretty good, doesn't it?
Yeah, we're gonna have it for you.
Got it. Gotcha. I'm on it, ma'am. I'm on it.
Okay. We already did when they came up,
Oh, okay.
so I think there she is. Okay.
Hello, Miss Zanetti.
Hey, waiting on me. Public Education Foundation officer. Would you like to recognize some people this evening?
I sure would. All of the great students were in the hallway getting high-fived on the way out for their good work. So we have 3 business partners, new business partners to recognize tonight, and they're in the hallway, so they're making their way in right now. I need my business partners and my principals. Had to use my teacher voice on them. So tonight, we're going to celebrate and recognize Hammett Bowen Jr., Maplewood Elementary, and Saddlewood Elementary. So everyone kind of just come up here, would you, for me, please? Come on, yeah, everybody, come on. Okay, so first I'm going to start with Hammett Bowen Jr. Elementary School, and their principal, Tracy Crawford, is here. And their new business partner is Church at the Springs. And representing Church at the Springs is Pastor Thomas Pesto. And you're going to be hearing more about Church at the Springs in just a few minutes, but we wanted to start with this exciting business partnership for Hammett Bowen Jr. Elementary School and thank Church at the Springs for their support. We have a plaque for the school and one for the church. And Pastor Pesto, would you like to say anything?
Just clarification, I'm Pastor Keith Duncan.
Well,
Pastor Pesto
sorry,
is,
he's in the back.
yeah, he's for Maplewood.
Well, you jumped right up here.
I have no problem with that. I have no problem. I would love to be called Thomas Pesto. That's a desire. It's a pleasure of ours at Church of Springs to be a partner with a great school like Hammett Bowen, and we look forward to a great partnership this year and in the future as well. Thanks.
Okay, moving on. All right, Pastor Pesto, are you going to come up for real this time? Yes. Okay, and Church of the Springs has also partnered with Maplewood Elementary School, and representing Maplewood tonight are their assistant principals Cindy Lowe and Sue Eatman. And so we are excited to have you guys here as well. The real Pastor Pesto, would you like to say a few words?
Yes, I can't tell you all how much of an honor it is to be here today. We are so excited for what this year has planned and however we can be an assistance to Maplewood Elementary. We're looking forward to this partnership and looking forward to serving the teachers and also the students. Thank you all so much for tonight.
And our final new business partner this evening is for Saddlewood Elementary School, and Principal Heather Lapira is here, and their business partner is Webster University. Representing Webster is Mike Fallon. He is the campus director, and David Waters is here with him as well. So you will see that we've got churches partnering tonight. We've got a university partnering tonight, so it doesn't need to be just a business. As you know, we also have Kiwanis Club that's a business partner, and lots of other organizations as well. So let's get their plaques out here, Mike. Oh, it's upside down. Okay. And Ms. Lapira?
Thank you.
And Mike, would you like to say a few words about your new partnership?
Well, we are extremely excited to have this partnership. We've been in Ocala for 20 years, and this is the first time we've partnered with Marion County Public Schools in this fashion, and we're excited for the year. So we'll see you more.
And now representing all of our schools this evening and the business partnerships, Ms. Lapira is going to say a few words.
Yes, sure. Thank you so much for the business partners that have come out to support Marion County Public Schools. All of our schools are definitely going to benefit from their partnership with us. So I just thank you, and I look forward to a great partnership with Webster. We've already started talking about some volunteer opportunities and reading with students, so we're excited about that. So thank you.
Mr. Christian, did you get a picture of everyone? I don't need to be in the picture. Thank you all very much. I look forward to continuing to work with you. Thank you for your support of our schools, our students, and our teachers. Thank you.
Keith,
Yes, sir.
you can say a few words about the good days we used to have together. About the time we used to run around the buildings and stuff.
Oh, goodness.
That was our good days.
We had great times.
Thank you.
Great man, I enjoyed it.
Bye.
I want to know more about that, Mr. Chang.
That was our good days.
Yeah, I was like, what?
That was our good days.
All right, Ms. Zanetti, you also have special recognition this evening.
It's a good night, everybody. So yes, we would like to recognize Duke Energy for once again partnering with the Public Education Foundation and Marion County Public Schools for an extension of the Duke Energy's STEM Star program. So I'd like to bring up Dorothy Pernew. She is with us, and Dorothy is our Duke Energy representative. So Dorothy and I have been working very closely together. They do a lot for Marion County Public Schools. They support the Big Sun Regional Science Fair. They have supported teachers going to
Keystone Institute.
Keystone Institute, I'm sorry, at the Keystone Science Institute in Colorado. This year, they've continued their support of the Farm to School program at Vanguard High School. So we're so excited, and we're most excited right now for the expansion of the Duke Energy STEM Star program. So this program last year took place in Legacy Elementary School, Maplewood Elementary School, and Emerald Shores Elementary School. So we are expanding it this year. This year we have added Reddick Collier Elementary School, Stanton Weirsdale Elementary School, and Bellevue Santos Elementary School. So before I let Dorothy speak a little bit, I'm going to ask Miss Stacy Houston, she is the principal at Emerald Shores, to talk to us a little bit about what happened at her school last year when they got all of these great materials.
Well, I can't thank you enough. Our students really enjoyed themselves. We created a brand new STEM lab, so we were able to create opportunities for students to go during their science times, once a week, attend the STEM lab. We did things, we actually grew hydroponic plants. And it was really neat because as we got near the end, we saw lots of algae, and I said, we need some of those sucker fish. So we got some of those, and then a tadpole ended up going in there. And so we started to create this self-sustaining little community within the hydroponic kit. It was really neat. One of them did really well, the other one not so much. So. And Mrs. Prestopino was asking me, how did yours do? And I said, well, it actually worked really well. She said, but we're problem solving still. So they're still working on that. Lots of other materials, though. students with the owl kits, pellets, started digging in, and at first they were like, I don't want to touch that. But then once they saw one friend doing it, another one would do it, and then they're actually like rebuilding skeletons of what was found. It was so neat. At the end of the year, I had to make some changes to my layout of my campus, and we had to bring everything out of the STEM lab and move it. And we think we might have to get some more teachers based on numbers, so I'm being very careful about my classrooms. So we haven't been able to start our STEM lab this year, and I've already had 3 kids come to me and say, Miss Houston, when are we going to get to go to the STEM lab? I'm like, we are going to get there as soon as we possibly can. So they truly enjoyed themselves. The teachers had fun with it. I know when the representatives came out from Duke, they got to see just students really hands-on enjoying themselves, having fun, but learning at the same time, and that's what we want for our students, because you have to do science. You have to do it. So we really enjoyed it, and can't thank you enough for that donation to our school. Our students really needed that. So we're going to continue it, and I've got to order some more owl pellets, that's for sure.
So we are excited, and some schools, like last year, as Ms. Houston was saying, they had a dedicated STEM lab. Other schools, like Legacy, they rotated the materials from classroom to classroom so that teachers could check them out and students could do those hands-on collaborative projects. But we're so excited now to have 6 schools participating with Duke Energy STEM Stars. So Dorothy, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you, Judy. You know, hats off to the teachers last year that implemented the program. I had the opportunity to do the tour through all 3 classes, all 3 schools, and it was very cool. Just seeing the kids light up when, you know, they were looking underneath the microscope and they had to try to make the connection with what is that I'm seeing underneath the microscope. And then the owl pellets. I mean, that was a priceless experience of, you know, trying to pull apart an owl pellet and all the oohs and the icks and everything else. But then they find a little treasure and they're like, well, what is that? Oh, it's a vertebrae for, I don't even know what, a dragonfly or something. I'm sure they don't even have vertebrae, but I'm not a STEM star. But their students are STEM stars, and the teachers are STEM stars. And I have, each of the students will be getting, when they go through the lab, they'll be getting magnets that say, my child is a STEM star. And so the parents can, you know, display that proudly wherever they think is appropriate. But, you know, Duke Energy, they contributed this year, we've contributed $1.7 million to education and workforce development in the state of Florida in 59 different organizations. And in my region, which covers 6 counties, $210,000 was contributed. And Marion County is very fortunate. The College of Central Florida received $20,000. The Career Source Workforce Development Board received $20,000. We gave $5,000 to the Tutor for Kids program, which I actually met with them today. What an amazing group of 450, you know, volunteers out there teaching kids how to read in your schools. And most importantly, our $20,000 grant for the Public Education Foundation of Marion County. It's our pleasure. You know, it's very important for us to support our children through STEM. It's what's going to make future leaders. It's what's going to grow our communities and really make them strong. And that's integral to our mission. So, Judy, would you like to accept the big check?
I do want to
Anybody
accept
want to
the
join
big
and
check.
accept the big check? No? Okay.
You want to stand in front of the teachers?
Absolutely. You guys all accept the big check. How about that? I'll be here. You should have done it. You're kidding.
Thank you.
Nice. Thank you for the partnership, and we look forward to another successful year and continuing it in many years to come. Thank you.
And I appreciate our principals jumping on board and making this a reality in their schools. And Mrs. Vining, Ms. Pernew and I have already talked about maybe after the holidays coming to visit you at Reddick Collier and inviting the superintendent to come along with us and see this STEM Star program in action. So thank you so much for all that you do to support our students.
All of it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
finally get a STEM award.
You know,
That's how you get your STEM award.
I wish it would
Stacy.
stick.
I went to the,
You're a STEM star.
the STEM
First time in my life.
program
Okay, we're gonna
in
move
another
along.
county.
Miss Suzanne McGuire, Director of Families, School and Community Engagement, would like to recognize volunteers who supported the Stuff the Bus initiative.
Good evening, board members, Madam Chair, Superintendent. It's going to take 1 minute for some of the volunteers to come in because it was a very exciting packed house here this evening. But as we get started, I just want to say that this is a wonderful opportunity for Stuff the Bus, who celebrated 16 years, to recognize some of our outstanding volunteers for this year. And absolutely, there's a few people in the room that I couldn't do this without. I need y'all.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm going to have John Rose come up here. John Rose has been my co-chair for I don't even know how many years. We've been doing this together forever. And of course, John Rose represents a lot of the different veterans organizations. So Stuff the Bus is our community-wide effort to collect school supplies and send them to every school's guidance office so that if a child or family is noticed as having a need for supplies, it's right there at the school. We do have a couple of very special recognitions tonight, and I am going to have John help me with this. I would like to have Commissioner Jeff Gold come forward, please. Commissioner Gold was so supportive. He was out there several Saturday mornings sweating with us. He was instrumental in having some of the fire rescue crew come out and help us. And he even came back in the afternoon and helped us unload, which is the really difficult, exhausting part of that. So for Commissioner Gold, we'd like to present with you our little bus token and just say thank you for all of your work with that. I also would like to recognize Ken Nichols with the Nautilus Submariners, and Ken has been a supporter of a lot of the programs that we've done, and also just to give him a buzz, he's been out there helping us with all of this. Thank you. And of course, Mrs. King, you've been with Stuff the Bus now for over 3 years, and you've been out there on a Saturday morning, so we'd like to recognize you with a little bus. And of course, Dr. Mayer, you jumped in completely with us for 2 years now. You've been out there every week with Stuff the Bus, every week, and even unloading at the end of the day. So we so appreciate your help from the Stuff the Bus committee and all of the students that benefit from this. So before I go into all the awards, Commissioner Gold would like to say a few things.
I just wanted to recognize mostly the veterans, all the football. Thank you for coming out and helping that last day, because I'm too fat to be out there. It was too hot. That last day, I was worried. I was trying to pawn that off on everybody to come and unload that bus. But it's an excellent opportunity. Susie, what you do is amazing. I don't know if anybody really recognizes how much work she does, but besides this project here, calling early in the morning, can we get this set up? With all the work you're doing with the veterans, I'm sure they'll be able to explain it. The Veterans Council the other day, we had a meeting going on, and they were worried because Susie wasn't there because she was helping a homeless family at the time. But I just wanted to let you recognize her, because I have had no problems with any of our endeavors that we've tried to doing with the trying to get the veterans back to work, to trying to get the youth coming back up, trying to get them jobs, working with the county. Susie's been instrumental in doing that. She's been able to call her. I've been able to call her at any time, and she's been able to help. I don't know how you do it, because there aren't enough hours in the day. I thought I had a good bit of things I do, but you're doing a wonderful job. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
So.
Thank you so much. And of course, all of this is with a huge committee and a lot of help, and hopefully they don't have to run off. But we did have, through the superintendent's support this year, we were able to reach out and have a lot more support, which is why you see our students here today. So we are going to recognize North Marion High School basketball team. North Marion High School football players.
Where's the little guy? Where's the little guy that was there with you? He's not here tonight.
He had football practice.
Oh, okay, well,
He
tell
had
him.
practice. I know, he had practice. Lake Worth High School cheerleaders came out and they did Saturday with us at the Silver Spring Shores location. And of course, Marion County Fire Rescue, not only did they work the door, but they also brought donations, and they were just so awesome in being there. Their presence alone asked people what we were doing, and it was just wonderful to have them with us. Of course, Commissioner Gold could not have done a lot of this, and his coordination was wonderful. Miss Carrie Ann Halcomb is in the back, and if she can come forward. Sometimes we get students involved, and sometimes their parents just really see the work that they're doing and the worthwhile endeavors. So she came out and helped. She stayed last minute to help us unload, and thank you so much. And of course, we do have one of our other, all our volunteers were special, but I'd like to call Miss Emma Beth up here. And Miss Emma Beth was, as you can see, Miss Strawberry Festival. And trust me, the stash and the crown, lots more donations when she was wearing them. But I do want to present you with the bus and with a certificate. And not only did she help just about every Saturday, but she also volunteered every Monday and sorted the items and the donations and made sure that helped them get boxed and out to the schools. And I think her total hours were 72 and a half hours that she did in 5 weeks with us. So that is truly dedication, and she's only in middle school. I mean, she is so committed, and I just think she sets such an example. And then also, sometimes there was a couple of crisis moments when it was about to pour rain, and we called in people. And of course, Sean Gold stepped up a couple of times. Commissioner Gold's wife got tied into that. Smokey West is, there you are. Smokey West is in here. And of course, through the superintendent's support, we had Holly Gorlock, one of our directors, came out on a Saturday. Mark Vianello, I think they're all somewhere out there in the building. Dr. Dama Apsher and Liz Fields. And I just want to say that 16 years, this is the first time we had this much support from our school system, and it was wonderful. It was wonderful, and I just want to thank all the volunteers and the guidance of the superintendent for supporting this endeavor.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Miss Stacy. Susie, you can't leave yet.
Okay.
Miss Stacy.
I'd like to say something. I remember in all the stuff that goes on in my world, flipping on Facebook and seeing you and Heidi and Kelly out there stuffing the bus. I felt so guilty because I was in so much air conditioning. And I felt so bad for y'all because it was so hot and I wanted to be with you and everything, but it just didn't work out for me to get out there because it was just, I just didn't flat do it, okay? But my hat's off to these kids. You know, in a world like we have now, where children do get on Facebook and they become wonderful in their own mind, and they're so wonderful that they won't even walk across the street to give someone some help if they needed it. In my day, we were taught that it's important to, if you see somebody in need, to go and help those who are in need. Today, I don't see a lot of that in the youth, but I see it in you guys. I know this group right here. If they saw someone in need, if you went to all the trouble to come out and work with Miss Susie and everything, I know if I had a flat tire and y'all drove by, you wouldn't leave me sitting there. You'd help an old lady with a flat tire. And I want to thank you, and I don't want you to change. I just want you to grow in this way to serving your fellow American. Thank you.
You know, every time I see a group of people that volunteer their time for a common cause, it's a great thing. And when I think in terms of our young people, and especially our volunteers, and from the amount of time that I know you guys spend out there volunteering, I'm talking to our first responders and things like that, to come out and really give back to the school system. And I'd just like to say, on behalf of all the students that in the Marion County school system, which is about 43,000 of them, I want to thank you for your time and your effort. And I know Ms. King is going to say the same thing, but I just when I see this kind of support, it's always important to say thank you for a job well done, and for all the kids that you touched. I know they're saying the same thing I am. Thank you for a job well done. And by the way, one other thing, I got to come out and see your basketball, man. See if you got anything out there. Okay, thank you, guys.
I just want to say thank you to everybody, because it's such a worthwhile project and helps so many of our students be ready for the first day of school. So we greatly appreciate all of that. To you young people, I always taught my children to never compromise your values or your integrity. And one of the best ways to do that is to be able to give back. And what you did was you certainly gave back. And to our fire rescue and everybody that came out and worked, thank you so much too. We have a great community, and when the call is there, everybody comes through. So thank you very much.
Yes. I just wanted to, I appreciate the students, to our, to all of you all. Just to look, for me to look at you all and that you took the time to go out this, I'm very, very proud of you all. And thank you. You know, as everyone is looking at me, I'm so proud. I'm like, look at this. When you give your time for someone, it's gonna come back for you all. You know, and for the better. You know, I'm just really, really appreciating all of you. Okay, thank you.
Well, I will end it as I want to begin with telling you guys thank you, because Miss Stacy, you're right, it was hot, and I was only there for a little bit.
I kept
And
thinking it was going to get better and I'd do it next week, but it didn't.
it doesn't get better, because these volunteers, they were out there in July and August, and we are all from Florida, and I know you guys were sweating, and I thank you for that. But Susie, I also want to thank you, because you lead this, and you have gathered a terrific group of our community members right here. I don't know if it gets any better than our football and basketball and our cheerleaders and firefighters and our pageant queens and our teachers and our veterans. I think we should have a big veteran signs too that say like veterans and education somehow partnering together. That's just me. And county commissioners. It doesn't.
We do.
You do? You have that sign? Where's that sign? Oh, yeah, you go in the classroom, but they need to, like, I don't know, there's more. I don't need to tell you what to. Yeah, there's many, many hats, and this is just one. But I will also say this about Susie. Susie never complains, and she's excited and happy being out there in that hot sun. And I will not, and think about it. We're on the asphalt. It's hot.
Oh, I felt sorry for y'all.
Yeah, I feel sorry for them too. I felt sorry for us. But, but what for a wonderful meaning also, because these supplies and materials go to our students that need it the most. And whether we already know it's not their fault. But thank you for standing in for those students. And again, thank you, and continue being great citizens. All right, thank you. Oh, Miss Stacy, I forgot to say there's Zumba on Saturday, if you feel like exercising.
I'm going to the beach right
Oh, there you'll go out in the sun.
I'll be walking on the beach. I'll Zumba along the beach.
Okay, go walking, sun.
I'll FaceTime y'all. I'm Zumba.
That's good, there you go. I'm gonna be looking for that.
Oh, that's funny.
Okay, Susie, you have another one okay.
sorry, the room was so crowded and I was in the lobby for so long that I did miss two volunteers that I do need to recognize, because this is a first time for me, 16 years. We were at the Back to School Bash at the mall, and we were there with one of our Stuff the Buses on a table and all of our literature. And these two young gentlemen, Caden and Chance, came up to our table with their mom. So if you boys will come up here. And they had really cool blue hair that day, though, I just have to say. But they actually had a lemonade stand during the day in their neighborhood, and then they brought all the proceeds from their lemonade stand and donated it to Stuff the Bus. And they presented me with a check, and I explained to them exactly what was going to happen with it. So I did want to recognize them as well for being here, because to me, this is when everything that the board members talked about with building good citizens, and Mrs. McCall with your comments with our children, this is when it starts. And obviously their mom is just a superstar for starting them so young with giving back to the community. And I think she said they do something pretty much every month. They have some little different projects. So this is for the two of you to share. And I just think that you all did the most exciting thing that I've had in 16 years doing Stuff the Bus. So I was very excited. So thank you again. We're going to do this again. There you go. Thank you again. And I just want to make sure.
Is it Chance? Chance, who the younger, the kindergartner?
Yes.
I think Chance has something to present you.
Come over here. Let's do this. Whatever you were just going to say, just say it in there.
It would be horrible if you didn't have a backpack and you didn't afford anything in a backpack. Thank you.
Hillary got more donations.
So should I look in here and we can share together? Okay, come on. Okay. So
There's some money in this.
there's some money in there. There is. And this money is going to buy more backpacks for more kids, isn't it? Thank you so much. So see how outstanding they are. And how old are you? Tell everybody.
5 and a half.
5 and a half. 5 and a half. Evan and I were surprised because he was tall, and we were just, he's 5 and a half. So this is just fabulous, and thank you again so much. So board members, this is where it starts in our schools, students giving back to other students in need.
And a fabulous big brother, too.
And absolutely, setting the example. So, and thank you.
Mom and Dad.
Mom and Dad, absolutely.
Yeah, they're just terrific young men. What a wonderful surprise it was in the mall. And I think you guys had just shut down your lemonade stand, and Mom, who's standing behind them at the moment, but teaching them wonderful, wonderful character skills. And Dad, I know you're great no matter what Chance says. But Caden says he's the best dad. But thank you. And I look forward to seeing you guys again real soon, because you guys are exceptional.
I think they're going to follow in Miss Emma's steps when they get into middle school with volunteering. Because look at what they're learning.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
And thank you. I love them. I love them. Okay. Thank you. Okay, we're going to move along. Miss Holly Gerlach, Director of Elementary Education, and Miss Crystal Sizemore, Elementary Education Special Programs, please come forward for your presentation on the 2017 Summer Library Program.
Good evening, Superintendent, Madam Chair, and board members. We are delighted to be here this evening on behalf of our summer library program. With that in mind, we'll go ahead and get started. I'd also like to introduce my counterpart, Ms. Crystal Sismar, who's also going to be going through this presentation with us tonight as we provide for you some information on our success with our summer library program. So with that in mind, under the superintendent's directive, we had the great pleasure of looking at how we can still continue to expand our literacy focus. As we know with everything, literacy is the key to the kingdom. Literacy is embedded in everything we do. So how can we still continue to expand these opportunities? So as we looked at our summer, we know that the summer slide is a real thing, and we said, what can we do and how can we maximize our focus on literacy? So when we consider what is that summer slide, it's when kids aren't in school and they don't have that direct instruction, and we're not moving them forward in terms of their educational opportunities. So literally, they slide or regress in terms of some of that content knowledge that we've given to them throughout the duration of the school year. So how do we continue to help prevent that? But then furthermore, how do we continue to provide those great experiences during this summer, and also reinforcing those standards that they did have during the duration of the school year? How can we promote that family engagement piece? So we know that our kids are at home with their families and other people, so how do we really provide those opportunities for them to engage? And most importantly, how do we continue to promote that love of reading? So with that in mind, we created our beautiful Summer Libraries program. So this summer, we had the privilege of using 10 school sites throughout the district in different geographical locations. And to be fiscally responsible, we utilized school sites that were actually already open because they were either having some type of specific camp at that school site. So there was no additional incurred costs. So we actually worked with Crystal, and we had certified librarians on site every single Wednesday from 8 to 2, and we opened up our libraries, but it wasn't just about story time. We wanted to really make sure that this was a great, rich opportunity for our students and for our families. So we designed this whole beautiful thing to include literacy-rich experiences, to open up maker spaces, to really make sure that it was a diverse experience for all students in elementary that came to us. So with that in mind, we adopted our Wednesday themes. And up here you will see the titles that we picked. I am a little biased, if I might say so myself, to Pete the Cat. I can sing to you later, but I won't right now for all involved because I am not a great singer. I will be forthcoming in that. So we really wanted to just provide high quality literature, but really what else could we do with it? And that's where really the opportunities went from there. So I'm gonna turn it over to Crystal, who's gonna really disaggregate the data for us so we can see what actually happened over those Wednesdays.
Hi, good evening. So I'd like to present some of the data from our summer library program to you this evening. And the first set of data I'd like to go over with you are our circulations by school and date. And circulations are checkouts. So our school library catalog system, which is called Destiny, can track the number of checkouts. And that checkout can be to a parent, to a student, or to a teacher, but it's one book checked out. And you can see here that we track the number of checkouts by school per each of the 8 summer library dates. So Greenway, Legacy, and Marion Oaks were in our top 3 of the highest checkouts for the summer library program. And so the next slide I'm going to show you is taking the same set of data, but looking at it a little differently. We're going to look at now across the board for the district, when we take all the schools combined, what did June 7th look like? What did June 14th look like? So you'll see the district total number of circulations, again, checkouts, books checked out to kids, and we had 4,391 books checked out during our summer library program for the whole summer. We had a very, very strong June, and you'll see it slowed down, but you'll see it start slowing down July 5th, 4th of July weekend, and you'll notice on July 12th, that was the last day of our 3rd grade summer reading camp. So we'll talk in a later slide about the makeup of the kids at the camp, but the bulk of our kids that were actually at our summer school sites were 3rd grade reading camp kids. So for a school, they may have had like 3 3rd grade summer camp teachers and, you know, a set of kids and only 1 VPK. So for the last 2 dates of the summer library program, the actual kids still on that campus being served were just the 1 or 2 VPK classes. So that's where we see a slight dip. So the next set of data I'd like to talk to you about are the summer school students served by school and date. And here, to define a summer school student, we're talking about a student affiliated with the school for one of our summer school programs or camps. And primarily that was third grade summer reading camp or VPK. Now we did have one school, Anthony Elementary School, that had two specialized camp. They had a STEM camp and they had a Century 21 camp. But they were the only schools with those two additional camps. Everyone else just had third grade summer reading and VPK. And so here we looked at the students that were served by the classes. So this set of data just represents the students that were affiliated with the camp. This does not include public visitors. That's going to be talked about a little later, so this was tracked separately. So this is the teacher, a third grade summer reading camp teacher or the VPK teacher, taking her class of students, going to the media center, signing in, and our media specialists tracked them by their classes, and they were able to say, like, Miss Smith's class had 18 kids, and that's how they were tracking the classes they served. And these classes checked out, they heard story time, they participated in the activities. So when we take that same set of data and we look at it across the district, we see that on average we had 300 students per week serviced in our summer school program. And when I talk about summer school students, again, these are the kids already at our school. So we're servicing the kids that are already at our 10 schools that are open for summer school: third grade reading camp, VPK, STEM, and Century 21. And you'll notice that on like July 12th, that was the last day of third grade summer camp. So the 19th and the 26th, they wouldn't have been there, but they still came and they still heard story time and they still participated in activities. So now I'd like to talk to you about public visitors by school and date. And public visitors are our parents and our children not affiliated with any of the summer school program. So these are the people who came specifically to our schools, one of our sites, to participate in the summer library program. And we had our media specialists track them on a separate sign-in sheet. So they had one sign-in sheet for the teachers at the summer school and their classes. And then they had a separate sign-in sheet for public visitors. And so we took their sign-in sheet data and counted the number of people that signed in on any given Wednesday. And when we took that data and we looked at it across the board by date, we had 537 public visitors to our school libraries this summer. So individual families, because this question came up. So our librarians tracked the public visitors on a separate sign-in sheet. And for example, a mom and her two children, they come to the media center to participate. That mom and her two children signed in on the sheet and they counted as 3 public visitors. But the librarians tried to track that was one family. So they were one individual family. They represented 3 public visitors. And they tried to build rapport with the families because some of the families came week after week. Some just popped in once, but the librarians started to recognize those repeat families. So I asked them to, look back at their sign-in sheets and try to identify and dig into the data a little bit more about those those repeat family visitors. And so when we looked at individual families represented within our public visitors number, again, this is the mom and her 2 kids. There are 3 public visitors. That's what you're seeing here. And we did track it by June and July because that's how we were tracking everything, and it was easy for the librarians to have a June sign-in sheet and a July sign-in sheet. You'll see the number of public visitors. Now, within this, I was able to ask them, can you tell me a little bit about those repeat families and disaggregate the data a little bit more. And there's some pretty cool, impressive numbers. For example, you'll see that Marion Oaks, very high public visitors. And so the Marion Oaks librarian reported that of the total number of people that came in for June and July, she had 14 total families come in more than once. She had 2 families come in for 7 weeks. She had a family come in for 6 of the 8 weeks. She had another family come in for 5 weeks. A family came in for 4 weeks, and 3 families came in for 3 weeks. And to even show you more, Legacy Elementary, they were pretty, high usage too. They actually had 2 families who came all 8 weeks. And I also had a family that came in 6 weeks, another came in 4, a couple came in 3. But the librarians were able to build rapport with those families and get to know them. And, you know, we did have a meeting, and they reported that the families were very grateful, and they thought it was just a great idea, and were super positive and supportive. And it was a nice, you know, way for them to read with their kids over the summer and come to our school libraries. So I'm going to turn it back over to Holly to talk about considerations.
Absolutely. With anything, we're always looking at how can we continue to maximize potential in this great effort. And one of the things we did was after we concluded our summer library program, we actually called a reflection meeting, and we had all of the school-based administrators, the librarians, and we actually had ourselves as the district staff there as well to talk about what can we do even better and why did some of these numbers look the way they did. So when we looked at it, the summer school participation, that was integral, and we realized that our students and our teachers were really utilizing these programs, and they loved it. And they wanted to make sure that this continues to be a part of what they did in their way of work in continuing summers. With that also, on some of the lower sites, we looked at geographical locations. Some of them were competing against the public library and other community centers. And with that, a lot of those, you can go there and you can drop your child off, or it didn't require as much transportation. So we really tried to look at why did the data look the way that it did. So in places where, you know, you have a working parent, but you have an older sibling, how can we still accommodate you and make sure that it's a meaningful experience for you as well, that it's not just a drop and get. We wanted it to be an enriching experience for all. Also with that, we realized with our VPK students, they don't have student numbers. So not all of those were tracked within the circulation because they couldn't directly be checked out, but those are all numbers that we took down and we said, let's get ahead of that next time so then we can still make sure, and we wrote it all down on pieces of paper, but once again, those numbers would have even looked even more different. And another big piece was the food piece, so we're gonna actually segue into that. Something that we noticed is that we have a great relationship with food services, and we talked to Ms. Susan Johnson, and one of the things about the public library is they offered food not only for the students, which we did as well, but also for the parents. So moving forward, we wanted to work out some great idea about if you come to our media center and you interact with your child in our services, and we will give you a ticket, and we want to make sure that we can still feed you as well as the parent, and really just trying to maximize that. One of our school sites, specifically at Marion Oaks, crazy big numbers. They actually have a makerspace in their library. And it was a really great idea, and it just gave, once again, this engaging thing. So when we consider a makerspace, what is a makerspace? Literally, it's just that. It is a open-ended space where you get to tinker, and you get to play, and you get to manipulate and make things. And that was really engaging for those students, especially the ones that wanted to stay for even longer. So that helped with some of our repeat customers. That was a big ticket item. And when they shared that with the other librarians, how can we do that? How can you share your stuff with me? So they were ecstatic, and it would just continue to build that rapport with them. One of the other things that we thought about as well is possibly an addition of another location, something that might be more centrally located, or something that would be within walking distance. Because if they had to cross a major road and the kids coming in, we wanted to make sure that we had the safety and well-being of every child accounted for. One of the other things that we noticed, specifically at Greenway, which also had great numbers, they had consistent volunteers every single Wednesday. And that was really great because then we really got to differentiate to our customers. So while you might be at story time, your older sister or brother could be in the maker space, or they could be working on something. So we really wanted to unite that. And we had some really great ideas that we wanted to flush out working with our secondary students. That's a great opportunity to get those service hours that they have to log in high school. Also looking at United Way with our Reading Pals program, how can we bring them in sooner during the summertime? Also with our veterans, in working with Suzanne McGuire. So just, there's great people, let's bring them in even during the summer because they would love to work with our students as well. Also with that in mind, getting ahead of the game with those VPK students, making sure that we get them even sooner with those student numbers so we can start tracking those numbers as well. And then also with that, considering a strategic marketing plan. We push this out, but one of the things is, and being a mom myself, they start advertising for summer camps in like February. So how can we beat some of that mad dash? Because if you pay to send your child to a summer camp, well, we have one day on a Wednesday, so you really have to also have that strategic, oversight about what am I doing with my child during the duration of the summer, and just making sure that all of our families are aware, because it is a wonderful opportunity. We wanted to continue to grow this and just reach as many families as possible, not only our own Marion County students, but all involved in terms of the public. So we were delighted to have this opportunity. We love literacy and we love reaching our students in any way, shape, or form. So we thank you for this wonderful opportunity. And with that, any questions for us?
I want to say bravo and thank you for getting the rest of the data. When I look at Marion Oaks and Legacy, and I remember the presentation that we had at the last board meeting, I have to think that what those three principals did out in that area played a huge role in getting these families to this library. So in the marketing plan, maybe some of the other principals might begin to reach out like they did. And whatever they did, I think they need to be a part of the marketing plan, because when I saw those numbers at Marion Oaks, especially because it is a school that oftentimes is not as engaged with parents, that's impressive, very impressive. And thank you for the effort that you put into this. Thank you.
Any other comment?
No, but thank you both of you. So proud of you.
Yeah, when you were talking, what came to my mind also is you mentioned the principals, which they're very key and important, but I also envision teachers encouraging those students to tell them, that the library is open and come on in. So I think they're also a very important component. If you can get those teachers to advertise for you, I think you could probably get something good going with that too. So thank you, well done.
Okay, were there any transportation for these youngsters coming in? Were the transportation, was it with their parents?
Yes, sir. So none of the strategic, obviously, if they were being transported in terms of the summer piece, in terms of they were there for the summer school site, those kids obviously had that opportunity, but in terms of just local public visitors, no, that was something that they had to provide their own transportation.
Okay.
Ms. Stacy?
Possibly we could work something where I found out it only cost $94 to have a bus and driver all day when I did my homework. And so that, I don't want all that time I spent looking on that to go to waste, because I found out it's not really that expensive to get a bus and a driver to kind of help us out to get to some of these programs and things. I mean, less than $100. And so I'd like for your team and Dr. Mayer to think about possibly some of the students who don't have that opportunity. And I don't know, we may even be able to, I see Michelle Stone is now our person from the county, that maybe we could work with her about maybe taking some of the students, like some of them students that don't have a way to get to. I always think of my project children who it's just not their fault, that they just need some help and some extra help. And so maybe utilize the county library some with our school buses, have our school bus possibly take some there, with our teachers, have our staff, or maybe our librarian on a day when she's not at her library, maybe meet over there and kind of help them go through that library, just to give a little bit larger variety of reading material than what we have in our schools while we're building our library books up with our money that we're getting from the referendum. And when we re-up the referendum, maybe we can spend some more money on library books and stuff, because I know we definitely need that. But it would be nice if we could even just, a couple times a week, $100, what it would do for a child that has absolutely no access to a library at all, to learn how to research and look for stuff, because sometimes they just don't do those things because they don't know how. And in one day, they could just learn so much about how to navigate the library and become a user of it. So thank you.
Mr. James?
What I've heard is really some really neat things, but I know there's a section that's missing, and I will be working to get the section that's missing. Because when I look at Marion Oaks, and I look at the condensed population that's involved with that, when you look at the number of kids that are going to Marion Oaks and the locale around that school, there's a reason why you had so much more participation. Okay, but I also see some schools that no matter what we say, they're not in that locale where they have that kind of dense population. And so I need to get with Doc and his group over here, because we need to, when I said, I hate to call you that, Dr. Grantham, because I really see an issue that we need to address, and I'm hoping that we're working toward addressing this issue, because there is a reason why these kids can't get there, and there's a reason why those numbers are there. And at some point, and I know I'll be going over to Howard again to look at what we can do to address those kids that are bussed out of the area during the course of the year. And they can't get to the library, and they can't walk to the library. Even if you would look at the Marion Oaks situation, the way it's located and the number of people around there, boy, it would be a crime if they were not that high, to be honest with you. And when I'm saying that, good job. All I'm saying is there's some other things that I think we need to add to that, and I'll be getting with you.
And you can see those numbers on those schools that she showed us.
Yeah.
It showed.
Well, can I say I am so happy with the comments, because I hear that you like what we did and we need to do more, and that's a happy thing. So thank you for that.
Would love to.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Appreciate it. Okay, we're going to move along with Dr. Marilyn Underwood, Director of Leadership Development, is here to share a presentation on the value-added model. VAM.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Board, Superintendent. At the direction of the superintendent, I was asked to prepare a presentation to give you a basic overview of what VAM is, and to talk to you a little bit about what opportunities we have in moving forward. So VAM is pretty simple. It's 3 little letters. It's quite simple. Even a kindergartner could probably say it. It's short and sweet. Or is it?
I was like, who are you kidding?
That's the VAM formula. This is the original formula. The second formula in black was expanded to define those sums. And I'm not able to point out on this screen for you, but this sum up here is defined further down below. So I'm going to talk to you about the formula in black and make an attempt to describe that to you. VAM is value added model, and it is the model that the state adopted to measure the impact that an individual teacher has on an individual student. The impact then is taken and put together to determine what overall impact that teacher at that school had on that child. The why, the first part of this, the YTI here, is the observed score for the student at one point in time. The X goes on to define the variables for the student. I'm going to go through these with you so you'll understand which variables were included. The Y's that follow are the prior test scores. There could be 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years of a prior test score, and those Y's capture that information. The Z refers to a matrix where the teacher is in, each teacher is in one column and the students are in an individual row. Because if you remember, I said the VAM measures individual progress of a student and the impact that that individual teacher had on that student. So it has to be broken into that particular matrix. The random effects are also included, and they follow. Those are effects like school and classroom effects, and those are part of the variables. The model determines that schools have different effects on the achievement of the students. And so they have a calculation for that. And the classroom has a different impact on the progression of the students. The formula is complicated, the explanation is even more complicated, and I don't pretend to be the expert on VAM and to know all of the intricacies. It isn't an easy formula. Theoretically, VAM really has a reasonable foundation. So why? Why is it reasonable in theory? Well, because it looks at a prediction of a student on an individual basis. And that's important. We're not looking at a global overall performance of a class. We're looking at each student individually. We're recognizing that students will achieve individually and differently. It's also looking at variables that have been determined in research to have an impact on how a student performs, what achievement that student will attain. Those variables include prior score. They include the status or special area of a student, students with disabilities, ELL, gifted. Those are a variable for a student to whom that applies. It looks at attendance. That is a variable. So the formula recognizes that a student that is not present doesn't learn. So it takes attendance into account. It looks at mobility, the mobility rate of that student. How many times did the student enter, exit our schools? It looks at class size, and it also looks at the class homogeneity. That is the similarity of the scores of the students entering that class. That variable assumes that when we have a homogeneous class, when all students achieve at the same level, that helps the achievement of all of those students. It also looks at, as I said, the student impact and the teacher impact, and there is a variable that is included in the formula for that, based on prior history, the school prior history, the teacher prior history. So it does attempt to place each teacher on a level playing field because it takes into account the variables that those students enter the teacher's classroom with, and it attempts to recognize those. So in theory, really, it has some reasonable foundation. But what happens in reality? Well, a lot of different things happen in reality. The VAM creates groups that are not equal. Why? Well, the law says every teacher has to be evaluated with a student achievement score. So those teachers who don't get a state calculated VAM still need a student achievement score of some sort, so there has to be another method. Well, there's an inequity there. A fourth grade teacher versus a second grade teacher are evaluated very differently, and there isn't an equality there because the second grade teacher is evaluated with a local assessment. The formula locally looks nothing like the one I showed you. That is a very in-depth statistical formula, and our local assessments don't have that. We have an art teacher versus an 8th grade ELA teacher. The art, music, PE, those areas are performance-based. Those teachers are delivering an assessment that is looking at a student's performance. That's very different than that statistical formula that I showed you that is taken essentially at one moment in time. It's one assessment. The VAM is also applied to a very small group, 4th through 10th grade ELA, 4th through 8th math. EOCs are 9th and 10th grade math, but they are, or 9th grade algebra, 8th and 9th algebra, but that is not included in a VAM formula. That's a separate calculation that the state also gives us. The teachers in 16-17 that earned a VAM score were 1,340. That's approximately 44 to 48% of our total instructional population. So it's not our entire group of teachers. The state also gives a VAM to a teacher if they were included in any of the survey periods. We have 2 survey periods, Survey 2, which is October, Survey 3, which is February. If I'm the teacher of record in October, but I leave and I'm not the teacher of record in February, or I move to another grade level, I still am included in the state VAM for that one survey period, so I have a VAM score. And because of that, there is a great potential for human error here. Because what it means is the teacher has to be vigilant in roster verification to be sure that everything is accurate. The school has to be vigilant in maintaining the accuracy of that teacher and where they were assigned. So in Survey 2, the school has to know, oh, I have to go back and take Marilyn Underwood out of Survey 2 because she's no longer the teacher of record for an FSA-tested level or content. And the district has to check that. So there's a great potential for human error. And we all know that when humans get involved, there are mistakes. We all make them. So that's a problem. The last problem is that the VAM has now become very, very high stakes. It is not only tied to money, but it is also now a basis of transferring teachers from schools that are in turnaround status or that are in the part of the turnaround plan. And so it is incumbent upon us that it is absolutely 100% accurate. So in reality, it's really not as great a tool as the theoretical foundation might lead us to believe. So all that being said, it's really not so dismal because House Bill 7069 has provided us flexibility now. We have an opportunity to move forward and do something that's best and right for teachers. The interest here is that we have equity for all teachers so that not a small group is tied to a very rigid statistical formula and others not, but that we have apples to apples across the board, that we're comparing apples to apples, that every teacher has a model that affords equity and that really shows the true impact of that teacher in that content, that year for that child. And that's what's exciting about what House Bill 7069 has given us the opportunity to do here. So what do we want to do? Well, we want the better way. We want what's best and what's right for those teachers, and we're not afraid of accountability. I don't believe any teacher would stand here and say, oh, no, I don't want to be held accountable. But they want accountability with the equity of being measured correctly for their content, for their grade level, and for what they do every year with these kids. So that's what I'd like to offer you, and I'd be glad to answer any questions. And if it's formula related, I'm going to ask Dr. Grantham, who taught this, to step up and answer those questions.
Well, thanks for the formula. I understand it much better now.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do.
Yeah, test me.
So I have one question. So the formula, will the formula still be used, or are they going to change the formula? So how are they going to make it equitable across the board if they're still using the formula?
They aren't. They aren't. That is
So it
what
allows us flexibility.
correct. We are able now to do what is right for teachers. That formula won't change. The variables are still there. They will still calculate it, but the House bill gave districts the option to use it or create something that we feel is better. And we've already had some preliminary tentative conversations, and collectively, we feel that we can create something that is better and more accurate.
So could I request when you have,
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
well, when we know what that is, can you come back and present, do
Oh,
another presentation?
oh, absolutely.
I would be very curious about.
I thought you were going to request that we're doing, okay.
No.
We need your permission to
Okay,
do it.
that's what I thought you were doing, and I was like, wait, hold on, we're going to.
No, I just want to know what it is.
Yeah, if there are no objections, I will direct the superintendent and staff to
Oh.
proceed with development of the Marion County Student Achievement Plan as part of Marion Accountability Research System.
There you go.
No objections? Okay.
Thank you.
You have a consensus, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're going to be busy, Dr. Underwood.
Yes.
Yes.
Not unilaterally, though. This is a collective.
Yep.
Okay, I will now ask the school board's attorney to explain the rules governing persons who wish to address the school board tonight.
Good evening. In compliance with Florida's Sunshine Law, the school board has adopted uniform procedures for public speakers who wish to speak at tonight's meeting, either regarding one of tonight's agenda items or a matter relating to the operations of the school district. These procedures will ensure the public has a reasonable opportunity to be heard on school board and school district matters. A written summary of these procedures is available from the table in the hallway. Public speaker forms are also located on the same table. The completed forms were due to the school board's assistant no later than 5:40 p.m. Tonight's speakers will be called prior to the business portion of the school board's meeting in the order of receipt. Based on time consideration, the school board, by majority vote, can decide to limit the number of presentations on any one topic, shorten presentation times, move public time to a different position on tonight's agenda, or eliminate the public comment time for this meeting and any other. Before you begin speaking, please state your full name and address and spell your last name. Each speaker will have 5 minutes. When the speaker has 1 minute remaining, the speaker will receive a visual notice to complete his or her comments. Speakers may not yield their time to other people. Speakers and meeting attendees must conduct themselves in a respectful manner. Therefore, verbal attacks, slanderous statements, and profanity are strictly prohibited. Unsolicited commercial solicitations are also prohibited. If there are matters dealing with student discipline, including expulsions, they will be scheduled at the conclusion of the televised portion of this meeting. Parents may address the board regarding a discipline matter at that time. Keep in mind for future meetings that speakers may use handouts or audiovisual presentations, but only if they are provided at least 48 hours prior to the meeting. They must also have a total length of 5 minutes or less. To ensure student privacy, only parent or guardian may use a student's first or last name. Identifying references to or identification of other students and/or their families are also strictly prohibited. Thank you for your attention to the board's requirements. Madam Chair, that concludes my explanatory remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Gibbs. Ms. Blackheader?
Michael Farrow.
Good evening. Name is Michael Farrow. Last name is spelled F as in Frank, E-R-R-O. My address is, trying to remember because we just moved, 3617 Northeast 19th Place here in Ocala, zip 34470. I'm here to speak to you this evening to implore you to do something about your transportation department because current conditions are entirely unacceptable. I understand that there is a shortage on drivers, but what you must understand is that there are parents that rely on these buses to get their children to school on time. These students rely on these buses to get them to school on time. How can that be done if either your buses are either extremely late, or don't even show up at all? I was told on one day last week that buses were 45 minutes late. For 4 mornings now, my son's bus did not show to pick him up. Whether there was a change in driver or if he is simply being forgotten, his bus has not shown up, and that as a parent is unacceptable. I cannot even get any further information from their help desk. I leave messages for callbacks, but none get returned. I cannot even, and then the people who run the people who run the help desk completely lack empathy or any type of customer service skills, for they are very rude and unprofessional. How can our students get to school on time to have breakfast, to be there when class starts, if your transportation department won't even show up on time, or if at all? I simply ask that either you do a review of the system or establish a better communication system with the parents. This department has zero empathy, zero communication, and zero accountability. The incompetence in this department needs to stop. Thank you for your time.
Juan Acasio.
My name is Juan Tito Ocasio. My address is 19 Globe Lane, Ocala, Florida, 34472. We're having a boxing event, a celebrity boxing, September 30th, and it's to help the veterans. But also we want to have cheerleaders to participate for the bouts.
Stop right there. That would probably be a call that would probably, you need to put into Dr. Ham to discuss that, because we don't do advertisement and stuff like
Okay.
that up here.
Okay.
Okay,
No problem.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Robert Childs was on the same event.
Robert Childs, CHILDS, 1110 Northeast 63rd Street, Ocala, with Veterans Helping Veterans. The boxing program that we had is the anti-bullying program, and we started this over 5 years ago, and there's been several spin-offs on anti-bullying, which is needed. As you know, it can get to the extreme of even a child committing suicide because of it. Our anti-bullying event in the past have been successful because we have heard from a number of students that have helped them. And if you help one, you've succeeded. This event is something that we're going to be continuing. We do have the last event we had was a little bit more celebrity orientated and such, and through the guidance of the people that were involved, the commissioners and everybody, we're going to be having another one, and we'd like to improve on it. We're a little bit on the adult side the last time. We had alcohol and that type of stuff, which we decided it isn't a place for the children. So we're not going to be doing that, and we're going to be following some of the recommendations of the commissioners and things to succeed again. And we would like the participation that we've had in the past from the school board, and maybe have some of the ring girls be cheerleaders and stuff and support our people.
Again, sir, this isn't a time to put a request in for our students.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, Rebecca Kemp.
Good evening, Board, Madam Chair, and Superintendent. My name is Rebecca Kempf, K-E, M as in Mary, P as in Paul, F as in Frank. I live at 3617 Northeast 19th Place, Ocala, Florida, 34470. My son, Aiden Farrow, is a student at Wyomina Park Elementary. He has been there since kindergarten. Most mothers are hesitant to send their children to school for selfish reasons. I was, however, hesitant as I was concerned about the quality of the school. See, I dropped out of Vanguard High School 1 credit short of graduation. I moved to Florida close to the end of my senior year. I needed 1 credit in English to complete my graduation, so I agreed to repeat my 12th year of high school. I started at Vanguard and was ready to finish and ready to proceed on. The standards of education an unmentionable number of years ago were appalling. In the 12th grade, I learned the differences of the theirs, trying to trick my teacher to find out if she was actually reading my papers or not.
seeing kids pass that couldn't even read. I learned more about my humanity teachers' drunken days in college than I had learned about actual humanities. A student threatened to slit my throat. When I reported it, because he said he didn't do it, that was it. Case closed. End of story. I had another administrator bully me because they knew my brother and they didn't like him. The teachers and the staff at that time is what I would have considered ineffective. I learned nothing. I was not protected by the school, and to this day, I have no degree, and I still struggle with my learning disabilities. When I heard about Principal Bila, I was saddened. When my son...
Refrain from using names.
Okay, sorry. When I heard about the principal being let go, I was saddened. I spent the first 3 years fighting to get my son tested for learning disabilities. I stood in front of this school board when he was in the 2nd grade. He is now in the 5th. And it wasn't until then that I had received the help that I needed, somewhat. I still had to fight the school. I had somebody within that school system at that time who honestly worked to sabotage my son's education. I had to retain a legal advocate from Tallahassee to step in and help fight for him. The teachers at that school have been underappreciated, underhelped, and understaffed for far longer than this school year. 3rd grade alone, my son had a total of 6 teachers before they finally got 2 who were willing to stay. 4th grade, the teacher that was hired left the 2nd day in because she deemed the kids were just not worth her time. His 2 3rd grade teachers that he had were absolutely phenomenal. Sadly, one of them has been recently removed because she was deemed ineffective. That saddens me that a woman who showed my son so much compassion was let go. His 4th grade teacher stood up for him and helped him so much. See, his 4th grade year, we were homeless for almost the entire school year. He went to school and he obtained A honor roll, something I could never have done, but he did it because his teacher encouraged him. His other 3rd grade teacher, who thankfully is still there and 2 doors away from him this year, encouraged him to be a great student in science, to where if the astronomy category ever came up on Jeopardy, I'm just going to sit back and let him at it because I am not smarter than a 5th grader. He is amazing because of amazing teachers that were at that school, and I am saddened to know that 2 of them are now gone when they should be there for those kids. To have them deemed ineffective is, as a parent, saddened. A principal to be deemed ineffective to where, in all honesty, she is exactly what that school needed is even worse. She was a mom to those kids. She was an amazing principal. The situation at that school needs to be looked at deeper, as again, this is not a new problem at that school. This is a problem that has been going on for a very long time. And unfortunately, it took for a teacher to come stand up in front of you guys to bring it to your attention, and it shouldn't have been that way. This school should never have fallen under the radar the way it did. Thank you.
May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda C9.1-C17.1 as submitted?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ms. McCall, seconded by Ms. Wheaton. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. And the motion passed 5-0. May I have a motion to approve the following cash or tangible donations that have a total value of $76,442. $2,500 to Bellevue Elementary School from their business partner, Bellevue United Methodist Church, Inc., via the Public Education Foundation. $2,500 to Dr. N.H. Jones Elementary School from their business partner, Reed Orthodontics, via the Public Education Foundation. And $2,500 to 8th Street Elementary School from their business partner, Glover Law Firm, via Public Education Foundation. $1,000 to Hillcrest Public School from the Florida Education Foundation. $1,000 to Howard Middle School from an anonymous donor. $2,000 to Howard Middle School from an anonymous donor. $1,700 to Howard Middle School from an anonymous donor. $30,000 to Lake Weir High School from an anonymous donor. $10,000 to Madison Street Academy from the Madison Street Academy PTA. $1,000 to Marion County Public Schools Homeless Needy Children's Program from the Wells Fargo Foundation. $1,000 to Marion County Public Schools Homeless Needy Children's Program from the Ocala-Marion County Association of Realtors, Inc. $4,000 to Marion County Public Schools Homeless Needy Children's Program from Mr. and Mrs. Jerry McCrone. $1,500 to Marion Technical College from Marion County Veterans Helping Veterans, Inc. 2002 Chevrolet minivan valued at $1,500 to Marion Technical Institute from Michael Klein. 2004 Ford F-250 truck valued at $6,742 to Marion Technical Institute from William and Jennifer Stalker. $5,000 to Marion Technical Institute from the Public Education Foundation. $2,500 to Osceola Middle School from their business partner, Reed Orthodontics, via Public Education Foundation.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. McCall, seconded by Mr. James. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. There's an opposed like sign. Mr. James, when we do it, you don't have to do it yet, almost. All right, and the motion passed 5-0. Mr. James?
You know, every time we have people give money anonymously, it's always a pleasure for people not to want credit for what they do. And it's always helping our students. And it always go to what it has been designed for. And I just want people to know that the money will go to the schools, and they have a specific purpose of whatever they want to do with the school. On behalf of all the students that's affected by these donations, I just want to thank you on behalf of the board as well. Job well done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. James. Okay, the chair recognizes the board's attorney, Paul Gibbs.
Thank you. Board, I am notifying you that advice is needed regarding the pending litigation styled City of Ocala versus School Board of Marion County. Pursuant to 286.011 subsection 8 of Florida statutes known as the Government in the Sunshine Act, I am requesting a session with the board for the purpose of discussing settlement negotiations and litigation strategy related to this matter. I will ask the board secretary to cause reasonable public notice of the time and date of this session and the names of the persons attending to be published. It is suggested that the session be held following the September 7, 2017 administrative briefing and work session scheduled for 9 a.m. As required by this statute, only the following individuals will be present: Kelly King, Chair; Beth McCall, Vice Chair; Angie Boynton, School Board Member; Bobby James, School Board Member; Nancy Stacy, School Board Member; Dr. Heidi Mayer, School Superintendent; Paul Gibbs, School Board Attorney; David Lennox, Attorney. I will ask a court reporter to record the session, also as required by statute. Her notes will be fully transcribed and filed with the clerk of the school board. Upon the conclusion of the litigation, the transcripts will be made public record.
I recommend the board hold an attorney-client session pursuant to Section 286.011, Section 8 of the Florida statutes to discuss the pending litigation.
If there are no objections, I will instruct our attorney to schedule the attorney-client session to be held following the September 7th, 2017 administrative briefing and work session starting at approximately 10:30 a.m. We have a consensus. Okay, meeting reminders. There is an employee termination hearing scheduled for 9 a.m. on Thursday, August 31st, 2017, in the school board meeting room. There is a special school board meeting scheduled for 5:30 p.m. on Tuesday, September 5th, The purpose of this special meeting is to hold public hearings for final approval of the 2017-18 millages and budget. The next administrative briefing and work session is scheduled for Thursday, September 7th, 2017 at 9 a.m. The purpose of the work session is to review charter school application for Southeast Marion Charter Academy and the student progression plan, as well as to receive an update on construction projects. Okay, and we're gonna move along to our committee. September 7th. So, I believe that's next Thursday or the following Thursday. Okay, so we're gonna move along for, board comments and concerns. Ms. McCall, you have any?
I attended a faculty meeting at Stanton Weirsdale and am very pleased that those teachers are very enthusiastic and they were talking with each other and sharing ideas for the first 2 to 3 minutes, and it was really great. And one of the good things was that they said recess is helping their children get focused again back in the classroom. So I wanted to pass that along because I think it's making a difference. And I look forward to seeing everybody at Westport for lunch tomorrow, those that can make it. That's all.
Thank you. Ms. Boynton?
Yes. Excuse me. Hold on, it's off to do. First, I want to say this. I am asked for a lawyer to look the information. This is just a draft. I know we were talking about the charter academy school, and I thought I was looking that we would get a community mentor charter academy committee, so that we can come in if this will help all of for the teachers as well the administrations, that a mentor. If you don't want it, you don't have to. I just wanted to put it together. See, it's just a draft. You can look at it. So we will have a mentor for the school over at Marion Military Charter. I think that if you can look at it, look what you're thinking about it. If you don't, I understand. But I've talked to different people about it, and they thought if we did it, they would come. These are like retired teachers might want to come over and help at that under us, as a committee or something, to lead this around, over at that charter. So that's one of the things that I wanted you all to look at. The other things, as I'm looking around, I think we need another meeting place, and I think we need to come back and look about it and say, it's now it's getting bigger, and sometimes the other people that are coming in, we need to talk that. I know you heard everything I said, right? Okay, we need to look at that. Okay?
Yeah, we had a discussion with Dr. Mayer, actually.
Okay.
She said that she's on it, right? For a bigger building, for us to have our.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. Kevin.
Okay?
We're going to talk. Yes, gotcha.
All right. And then I didn't have my little shirt on. Okay, that says, be positive and be kind. But, we want you to go back to school and have attendance is very important, okay? So, I think you'll hear us the next time she'll have her T-shirt on, right?
I'm gonna wear it today if I knew.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. James?
Yeah, just a couple of things. Madam Chair, if we could have Dr. Ham address that transportation issue with that parent.
Yeah, I was gonna speak to him.
Right, if you would. And I don't know what we can do in reference to the other one, because I know some of the things that we're doing over there we have to do at Wamena. That's what I'm referring to. Some other things that I just want to say now. I've talked about a balanced scorecard for a long time. And when I think in terms of a balanced scorecard, it will, in order for us to have a balanced scorecard, I know we need to have a retreat, because the school district is really doing a lot of neat things. But we have to identify what we are really wanting to do, because the school system is really doing a lot of neat things. Now, I looked, most of you saw a good presentation tonight on our summer library. But when I look at it, and I said, this need to be on a balanced scorecard, so we know what the goals and objectives are. We know what we're trying to achieve. Do we need to add funding? Where are we missing these things? And when we look at what we're doing in the school district, it's just, we're doing so much until we need to have a retreat to figure out what rat we want to chase. It's not a rat, but there's so many things going across us, and we're doing a good job. Okay, I'll give you another example. I was over at the NAACP meeting the other day, and I was looking at the things that we're doing as a school district, and all the people that were involved in the conversation, and I'm saying, boy, we need to know what's our goal here, what's our objective, are we achieving our objectives? Because when I look at the school district, I'm happy. I like where we're going, but I know we need to have goals and objectives. Okay, when I looked at this, when I was listening to this tonight, and Doc, I really didn't want to say too much about it, but I'm sitting here looking at the schools that had a higher number of parents participating. What's our goal with this whole program? Why these other schools are not having this type of response? There's a reason. A balanced scorecard would tell us what the reason are and what we need to do in order to get the funding to do that. I just know at some point we need to have a retreat, and we need to get with our administration and the school board, and we need to figure out what we're trying to achieve, what the goals are, and if we are achieving that, where is our money going? And again, this is no better time than right now. I look at Susan McGuire back there. Susan, you need to be on a balanced scorecard. What's your goals? What we're trying to do? What's our achievement? Are we achieving these goals? These things, if we're really interested in all of this thing. And so when I look at these things, I know that we are doing some neat things. But guys, I don't know what the goals for all of them. And this is what I'm asking for. At some point, we need to have an administrative retreat where we have the board and administration to look at what we're trying to do. The next thing, I'm not through, it's my dime. I had an excellent opportunity to visit some schools, and I was looking at the recess period, in which is good. And I know that Central 21 has provided some material and supplies and things for these schools, and which is good. But by the same token, I know that some of these schools probably need some additional fencing for the safety of the kids, and they might need some blacktop for some areas for these kids to play, to provide some areas for them. And the administrators have done an excellent job out there with this. But as a board, I'm going to ask Dr. Hammer, the superintendent, do we need to add some additional funding in our fencing to make sure that these people, when I say these people, these principals have enough funding to fence in these areas and make it safe? And I know that recess is a wonderful idea, but I do know when you have that many kids running around, we need to make sure that we have enough funding out there to make sure that they're in a safe area. So that's what my thought is for today. And if we can just look at a third of what I just talked to you about, I'll be a happy camp. Okay.
Ms. Stacy?
I was going to talk about something else. I'll just wait and talk about it at a workshop, though, a little bit. But I feel the same thing Mr. James feels. I feel we've just got a lot of neat things going, and maybe we can connect some dots to some of it. But for so long, so many great ideas came in from out of Marion County, because we brought in people from out of Marion County, where districts were doing things that we had never heard of doing, because we just had lived in our bubble here for so long. And now there's new thoughts coming in, and I think it's rattling our cages a little bit, where we don't know, as a board member, and like Mr. James, we are so excited, and we got so many things going, but how are these things all going to connect for student achievement and make the circle, to make the circle? And y'all probably already know how you're going to do it, but I'm just operating from crystal ball, and I'm not very good at it. And so Walmart's not got the crystal ball batteries for my battery. My crystal ball's out. And so I would like for y'all to tell us, like, kind of help us understand, because I support absolutely everything you're doing. I think it's amazing. But not being an educator, being a business person, maybe it's not as easy for me as it might be for Ms. King, because as a business person, I have to see the plan. And I agree. I think that's something that would be great if y'all just kind of help explain to us.
It's a good idea.
What's going on?
Okay. Ms. Blackheader, I'm going to ask that we can maybe get some dates for a retreat. I don't think it should be a work session. That's not what we're wanting. We want a retreat to address the goals and objectives of this district. Excuse me? 2 days? Yeah, give us two days, probably a day or two, and we'll work it out so we can find some times. And then also, I would like to request a work session strictly on fencing our schools and, you know, what schools have fencing, which ones don't, what we're looking at cost-wise and stuff like that for safety. So, okay, thank you. All right, and then Mr. Gibbs, do you have anything?
Nothing today.
Ms. Watcutter, do you have anything? Dr. Mayer?
Of course I do.
Yes. Yes.
Hello, board. It's good to see you. It's like it's been forever since we've been together, so it's good to get together again. And it's good to have Officer Wissinger here. How are you? How was the first week of school?
Great.
And you're at, again, we'll let everybody know you're at Fort King Middle. Okay, everything going well?
Great.
Awesome. Well, it's good to have you back. Thank you so much. All right. And I want to say, board, I want to thank you for multiple things, but tonight I want to thank you for hiring a rock star, because Mr. Gibbs, you're amazing. Mr. Gibbs has helped, specifically Colonel Ham and I, with a few issues that his door was open to us. We were able to pop in, ask him some questions. So as we look at the fiscal side of things, and I know this was particularly important to Mrs. Stacy, that we use internal when we can, and it works, and it's great. So he's not only prompt with responses, he's open, and he's learned very quickly how to talk Heidi. That's what we call it. How do you talk Heidi? And he's able to do that. So I want to thank you, and I just wanted to acknowledge that you are a great team member, and we appreciate you. Thank you very much. I also want to give a shout out to Dr. Ham and his team on the facility side of the house, because we do a lot of emphasis at the beginning of the school on our teachers, and well deserved, but his side of the house with certain issues that we do have burps every once in a while, but we've looked at them. We're getting better, and to you and your team, thank you, Dr. Ham and Becky Rora and her team out there. Thank you for everything you do, keeping our kids safe and getting them to school, so we appreciate that. When we talked earlier about the school libraries being open during the summer, and Ms. Gerlach mentioned Pete the Cat. So, you know Pete the Cat. Have you all met Pete the Cat? Okay, I'm going to loan you Pete the Cat, and this would be a great grandbaby book, Miss Stacy. So we did a Pete the Cat book this summer. This is the original Pete the Cat, though, and I just want to give a shout out now, because I know they're watching, to Trevor, Gavin, and Kenneth, who actually autographed a Pete the Cat book for me and gave it to me as a gift. But Pete the Cat, with today's crazy world, we need to just stop and think about Pete the cat. And I'm just going to do this quickly this evening. But Pete the cat is just doing his thing. He's got his awesome new white shoes. He's happy. He's singing his song. Mrs. King, I'll stop before you start singing because I know you will. But he steps in strawberries with his white shoes and he gets them all red. But does he get upset? No, because oh goodness, no, Mrs. McCall is singing. So now he loves his red shoes and everything is great. So he's walking along, he steps in blueberries. So his shoes are now, but does he get upset? Goodness, no, because he loves now his blue shoes. He's loving his blue shoes. And I can hear Kenneth, Gavin, and Trevor reading along with me at home. So he's walking along, he steps in mud. But is he upset? Goodness, no. He loves his brown shoes. Groovy, he says, by the way. And he's loving his brown shoes because, of course, it reminds him of coffee, which is a great thing. So then he steps in water, and now he has wet shoes. But is he upset? Goodness, no, because he loves now his white, wet shoes, and everything is great, even though they're squeaking. And the moral, and I'll let you families at home read the book slowly and with comprehension, but the moral of Pete's story is, no matter what you step in, keep walking along, singing your song, because it's all good. And sometimes we just have to take a breath and know that no matter what happens, it's all good. And this is the book that was autographed by my boys, and they gave this to me. It's Pete the Cat's Groovy Guide to Life. And there's a quote in here that just made me laugh today. And it's a cat quote. And if you all know, I have many, she laughs, I have many cats. But it says, a man who carries a cat by the tail learns something he can learn in no other way. So it's just something to ponder. Something to ponder. Yes. Everybody's laughing out here if you don't hear them. And also, with everything, sometimes my head hurts and I don't want to read serious things. So I just want to say, shout out to Philippa Gregory and her new book, The Last Tutor, because it's just good mind candy. So it's just a good read. So I would highly recommend it, and I'll loan it to you if you'd like. So, but it's great historical fiction that isn't really that on point with the history, but it's good stuff. So anyway, that's all I have tonight. I'm just happy I have my book. It's good. And Pete the Cat, because it's all good, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, Dr. Mayer. That was groovy. From Pete the Cat.
Yeah,
And
it's
I
all
do
good.
like Philippa Gregory. I love the Henry VIII and those two.
Oh, well, this is Lady Jane Grey. And even though we know she's going to get beheaded at the end, it's still a good read. Hey.
It is. Okay, I'm just going to end. I just want to welcome back the students and teachers. You guys have been here probably a good solid or almost 2 weeks. And basically, I think we're off to a great year. There hasn't been, I know there's been a few issues that we need to address along the way, and transportation is one of them, because just like Ms. Boynton-Shirt says, attendance matters, and it's important that our students are there on time to get, their breakfast and being seated in those seats, not 5 minutes late or 10 minutes late, but when that bell rings and the teacher's ready to teach. And I'm just going to tell everybody thank you for all you're doing for us. Okay, we're going to move along. Before addressing expulsion matters, I wish to acknowledge that board members have received the alternative placement list for students through August 4th, 2017. Ms. Walketter, are there any parents who have submitted a timely request to speak on their child's disciplinary matter other than early re-entry request?
Just the early reentry.
Okay, good. May I have a motion to approve with expulsion of student JD 17-78 with educational services through the remainder of the 2016-2017 school year and the first semester of the 2017-2018 school year?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ms. McCall, seconded by Mr. James. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those that oppose, like sign. And the motion passed 5-0. May I have a motion to approve with expulsion of student JD 17-97 with educational services through the remainder of the 2016-2017 school year and the entire 2017-2018 school year?
So move.
Moved by Mr. James, seconded by Ms. McCall. Is there any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
And those that oppose, like sign. And the motion passed 5-0. Okay, this concludes the televised and business portion of the meeting. I declare a brief recess to clear the room prior to further discussing student discipline matters regarding an early reentry request. And we are recessed at 7:35.